going to heat that up because sitting on that plate it sort of sucks some of the heat out of it, and he wants to manipulate that disc that's on the bottom. So in order to do that, he's got to get it hot again. So you go back in and heat it back up. He doesn't want to get the top of the piece quite as hot as the bottom because then it starts waving at you and it makes it hard to handle. Where he grabbed a hold of that with the tweezers, those little tabs, they chill because the tweezers were metal. And they were sticking out 90 degrees from the side of the piece. So he heated them up and he marvered them all down into the side. We don't want things sticking out like that. Nice those clouds came back. Notice as you swing that, it will get longer. You got to be careful because it could go from 8 inches to 18 inches in a split second, in which case you start over again. He's pointing the bottom somewhat because he's got to, you know, Powderhorn's got a knob on the bottom of it, so you got to be able to get a hold of the glass down there to fashion that knob out of it. So you do that by elongating it and pointing it and jacking behind the point and flattening it in. See how that was done? We're going to catch that, okay. Now we're going to have to pick this up by that knob with a piece of glass on a rod. So they flatten that off a little bit so they've got a place to stick it's called the punty. That's what you use to hold the piece while you're working on the other end. The blowpipe is going to come away at this point. This is the little dab of glass that we're going to use to hold it with. He's going to fashion that into a little button on the end. They're going to come over and they're going to stick that on. They're going to take a file and run it around the other end of this powderhorn to try to cause fractures so the piece will break off the blowpipe. And now you can work on the open end. Now that is broken glass. That broke off of there. So he's got to go back in and get that soft again so that that rough edge smooths over. And make sure he doesn't crack it. That end gets cold because it's thin and it's a long ways from the fire. It's right, the bottom end of it was in most of the heat. So as you go back into the furnace, you always stand a chance that that's cold enough that when you introduce it to the heat again, the fractures that you put in it with the wet file might travel down the side of the piece. It's part of the game. It happens. How far down are you from? He's trying to get it hot enough that sometimes you can heal that crack. But the funny thing about it is usually you always have some sort of scar that you can see there. It doesn't like that, it doesn't like to be cracked. It gets mad at you. Right, heal up. Frank says it healed up. We can go ahead and proceed. See how it goes. He wants to elongate that narrow end at this point. So he needs to elongate it. He needs to get something to get a hold of to pull it. So he'll. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. If I was making it, and he'll probably do the same. He'll jack a lip onto it so you can get the jacks behind it. You get it soft enough, you can roll it on the table and move your hand out a little bit and stretch it a little bit. Don't want to go a lot. Just got to go a little bit. And there's that lip, and that'll give him a place to move the jacks this way. If you want to stretch the neck a little bit longer, you can put pressure on it when it's hot and pull, and sometimes that'll get longer for you. Sometimes all you need to do is get it hot and swing it. and sometimes that'll get it, another inch or two. And then, of course, a powderhorn is curved. It's not straight. Right? That's a short powder, but it's still going to have a curve in it. This is from a shorthorn cow. This is not a Texas Longhorn powderhorn. Get it hot. Hold it down. You don't want it to flatten as it goes, so you don't want to get it too hot. And there's your curve.
Yep.
That's a pistol powderhorn. That's for a pistol. That's Frank Stubbins from Piles Grove, New Jersey.